Okay, we are on the week of Yom Kippur, and Yom Kippur will be in a few days. Yom Kippurim, and it's called Yom Kippurim, plural. Do you ever wonder why Yom Kippurim is plural? Because it's for the Chaim and for the Mason. Some have a meaning to put on two lights. One for the Chaim, one for the Mason. One for the Chaim, for you, and everyone who's living, because one day you'll be nothing but a light in somebody's table. And one is for the Mason. The Mason don't have kapara, they don't do any averas. Yeah, but it's like in the corporate world, you get a review every year and you get perks, advancement, elevation. Malachim also get elevated. We don't know much about that. They get elevated. A person who becomes a malach, his neshama gets elevated every year. It's like a perk. You get a bigger perk, a smaller perk. If you don't get any perk, that's like a demotion. And it's for the Chaim. They should do tshuva, because one day there'll be nothing but a light. So, doesn't it say in the Sanad Tokeb, U'malachim yichafezun, the malachim are trembling? Why? Oh, there's a whole subject about that. Let us learn now the questions on Yom Kippur. The questions on Yom Kippur is found on Torah Anytime. Recently we put up Chodesh Elul 8, Rosh Chodesh Elul, Rosh Hashanah, and Yom Kippur. Soon we finish Yom Kippur, we got to put up Sukkot. So let's ask some questions about Yom Kippur. I hope you see this before Yom Kippur. Number one question, up to 21 questions. Why is eating on Erev Yom Kippur considered as if one fasted? It says in the Torah, B'tisha b'chodesh v'erev, on the 9th day of the month in the evening, me'erev ad erev, from evening to evening, that means 24 hours, tanush nafshu seichem, torture your soul. We know it's not the 9th, it's the 10th. So the 9th day you have to torture your soul by eating. And this next day you torture tanush nafshu seichem by fasting. How do you do it? By eating. It's the only day of the year that is a mitzvah, the oraisa, to eat. And you're eating purely the shmo because Hashem said. And which means you're not going to do it for any personal hana'ah. That's extremely difficult. That's torture. You might be so preoccupied with this mitzvah, eating l'shem shamayim, you may not make it to Yom Kippur. You may choke. Shem yichanim. That's why you have to say vidui, Erev Yom Kippur, in Mincha, before you get to Yom Kippur, because you may not make it. Tisha b'chodesh ba'erev, Erev ad erev, Tanus nafshu seichem. The 9th day until the 10th, the whole 9th day, you should torture yourself by eating. Eating l'shma, but no physical pleasure. It's very difficult. You may choke. That's why you say vidu before Yom Kippur even comes, by Mincha. Yeah, there's another reason you should eat in order to have energy for the next day. I know. The real reason is what I told you. Tanus nafshu seichem. Torture? For eating, enjoying that good meal, you're going to torture yourself? That's why whenever you eat karbanos, it has to be lishma. This is not a korban, but karbanos is also lishma. For instance, korban Pesach, al hasova. You got to be totally 99% satiated from korban chagiga. Then you eat the korban Pesach. The shema, not because you enjoy it. Erev Yom Kippur is the only day of the year it's mitzvah d'oraisa to eat. Every Shabbos and Yom Tov is a minhag. Korban Pesach is not a meal, it's a piece of meat. Maybe you could say the first night of Sukkot, you have to eat in the Sukkah, Kazayah, Asuda, because we have a halacha, you have to eat the first night of Pesach, Matzah, Erev Tochlu Matzah. Maybe you can say it's not the only night, the 3 nights of 3 times a year when you have to eat. One is Erev Yom Kippur, and one is Chamish Asar, 15-15, from Sukkot to Pesach, both on the 15th of the month. They make a Gezer Shabbat, they use the word Chamish Asar, the 15th. Just like it's a mitzvah on the 15th of Nisan, not the next night, that's Rabbanan. The 15th of Nisan, the Erev Tochnu Matzos, you must eat matzos. First night, Next night is Rabbanan. First night is the Raisa. And you have to eat it with matzah and maror and korban pesach, a korech, a sandwich, or some say one after the other. First matzah, then maror, then korech, then matzah and maror, or all three together, like Hillel says. So there's a derisa that night to eat matzah. Even nowadays, there's no korban pesach, and there's no maror. It's only Rabbanan today. The only thing with the rice is matzah. But in the time of the Beis HaMikdash, Pesach matzah maror was the raisa. So that was taka a mitzvah to eat korban pesach and the matzah and the maror. That's one. And in the sukkah, the first night to eat a kazayas. And Erev Yom Kippur. Maybe you can say the 3 days during the year when it's a mitzvah raisa to eat all the Shabbos Yom Tov mitzvah, minhag, nice minhag. But you can fast on Shabbos day if you had a terrible dream Friday night. You can't fast on Erev Yom Kippur. It's awesome. That's the first question. Why is eating on Erev Yom Kippur considered as if one fasted? It's one of the 3 days of the year when eating is a mitzvah deraisa, Shem Shemaim. This is torture. Preoccupation with this might lead one to choke his food. Chas v'sholom, therefore we say vidui, because you may not have a chance to say it on Yom Kippur, you may not make it. At mincha, before the Suda, at the Suda's Hamafsekas. Before the Suda Hamafsekas. Yeah, you say in mincha before you get to the Suda Hamafsekas. 2. In what way is Tisha B'Av more stringent than Yom Kippur? Putting a damp cloth on the forehead to cool off is usher on Tisha B'Av because he's supposed to be miserable and tortured. There's no such thing on Yom Kippur. Because Yom Kippur, Tisha B'Av, because of pleasure, you're not allowed to have pleasure on Tisha B'Av. This type of pleasure is not forbidden on Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is not a sad day. Yom Kippur is a yontif of dreadful seriousness. Tisha B'Av is sad. We don't sit low on Yom Kippur. We don't wear shoes for a certain reason, because when you do tshuva, you have to feel that you don't deserve to walk on an animal. An animal is leather made, it makes your shoes. That's what you walk on. When you feel very, very low, you did so many averas. Animals don't have a free choice. We have free choice, and we violated the free choice by doing averas. We're lower than a behemoth. That doesn't go against Hashem's rotzon. Never. No creature ever went against Hashem's rotzon. You did. I did. We did. Therefore, you have to feel modest. That's why the brothers, when they sold Yosef, they bought from the Shkolim shoes. They shouldn't be a Baal Gaiva like Yosef. And then they said he thought he was a Navi. He's a liar. He's a road Dave. Meanwhile, they're all 100% wrong. 22 years later, they bowed down to him. They said, we're your slaves. Abodechonu, we're your slaves. So they made a terrible mistake. But they didn't want to become a Baal Gaiva like Yosef. Therefore, they sold Yosef. And each one bought from a couple of silver coins. They bought a pair of shoes to feel modest, like on Yom Kippur. You want to do tshuva, you can only feel. If you don't have a guilty conscience that you did anything wrong, how can you ever do tshuva? On Tisha B'Av, you also don't wear shoes. You're sad. Hashem destroyed the Beis HaMikdash, not because you were a good person. You did something terrible. And on Yom Kippur, you're not sad. Yom Kippur, it's a yontif. You say good yontif to each other. It's you want to feel modest so you can do tshuva. So on Tisha B'Av, you cannot have pleasure. Yom Kippur, you have right to have pleasure. You can smell things. Sit high. 3. Why is shofar permitted on Shabbos Yom Kippur during Yovel? Shabbos, Yom Kippur, during Yovel, not nowadays, every 50 years. But not on Shabbos Rosh Hashanah. Shabbos Rosh Hashanah we don't blow the shofar, but Shabbos Yovel, Yom Kippur we do blow the shofar. How come? On Yom Kippur, because it says in the Torah the day and the date. Yom Kippur is the date, and for the 50th year, and it has to be on Yom Kippur. This overrides Shabbos, like Bris Milah. It says on the 8th day, regardless if it's Shabbos. On Rosh Hashanah, we may blow on the 2nd day. We don't have to do the first day. Even Eretz Yisrael is 2 days. And this does not uproot the mitzvah completely, because you do it the 2nd day. But Yom Kippur, every 50 years, when all the land reverts back to its original owner and all debts are canceled, there's only 1 day. That day, that happened to be Yom Kippur. You have to blow it on Yom Kippur. We do not have the opportunity on one day of Yom Kippur, but Rosh Hashanah has 2 days. Before they made 2 days of Rosh Hashanah, even as you saw those 1 day Rosh Hashanah. What do you say about that? So in the Beis HaMikdash, they blew shofar on Shabbos every year when there was a shofar, whenever Rosh Hashanah came out on Shabbos, or in Yavna, or any place that was a Bezdin. But they made the Gezerah after the Churban Beis HaMikdash, and Jews were spread all around the whole world, and Rosh Hashanah was 2 days. They blew it on the second day, so it wasn't a deraisa, it was Rabbanim. Like we can't shake the lulav if it's Shabbos the first day, so the second day is Rabbanim. So if it's second day is Rabbanim, why do you spend $200 for an esrog? Why don't you buy $35 a little esrog if the first day is Sukkot is Shabbos? Second day is only Rabbanim anyhow. Why are you spending $150 for an esrog? Answer is because you love the mitzvahs, even Rabbanans. 80% of the Torah is Rabbanans. You love the Rabbanan who made things to preserve your life. 4. Does one make Kiddush on Yom Kippur if he has to eat? Let's say he's a sick person. No. All the Chazal were mesaken a Kiddush for Yom Tov, and this is a Yom Tov. We do not say Ya'aleh V'yavo, and we do say Ya'aleh V'yavo on Yom Kippur, but we don't make Kiddush. No, all the Chazal were not mesaken a Kiddush on this Yom Tov. We do say Ya'aleh V'yavo if you have to eat. And we'd say, if it's Shabbos. Note that the Mishnah Berurah, Shulchan Aruch, Tov Reish, Yud Ches, Sif, Yud, Sif Kotten, Chav Tes, state that it may be omitted. Ya'aleh V'yavo. What is more severe, the violation of Shabbos or the violation of Yom Kippur? Well, everybody's going to say Yom Kippur, but you're wrong. Shabbos, because the punishment is skila, whereas Yom Kippur the punishment is kores, and you can get taken out away by malchus. Kol chayve krisus lokin. Get malchus, take it away. So all these people who drive on Shabbos and keep the high holy day of Yom Kippur, they should do just the opposite. Keep Shabbos and violate Yom Kippur. Because Yom Kippur is kores, and that can be taken away with malchus. And Shabbos is skila, much holier Shabbos. Both are called Kodesh Kedoshim, I know that. But the punishment, both are called Shabbos Shabbosim. But the punishment for Shabbos is skila, which is worse. You can't get out of skila if you have 2 Eidim and Hasra. There's no way to get out of that. Number 6. Why is it called Yom Kippurim, the plural? We said that before. Is Yom Kippur both in heaven and on earth? Hamalachim yichafetzon, they're trembling. Doesn't you say that in the San Tokef? Even the angels tremble doing the tefillah of the San Tokef. 7. What's the difference between Slicha, Mechila, and Kapara? Slicha is for shogeg, accidental. Mechila is for mazy, did on purpose. You knew it was wrong, but your taiva got the best of you. Intentional. And Kapara is for Merido. You hated Hashem and the Torah, and you thought Judaism was idiotic, and then you became about Tshuva. That's called Pesha, rebellion. You got kapara for that. Slicha, mechila, kapara. Slicha for forgiveness, total forgiveness for accidental. I didn't know it was wrong. Mechila is for avonos, avon. I knew it was wrong, but I couldn't help myself. So you get mechila, which is not as complete as slicha. And then kapara for pesha, for a rebellion. You hated the Shem and the Torah, and then found you did tshuva. You get pesha as the weakest form of atonement. That's why you have Yom Kippur. Even for the worst of heirs, for the worst people, Poshei Yisrael. Even that, you have a kapara, it covers you, like a kaparis, like the bullets are coming, but it blocks it. And if you do tshuva over the weeks and months, it goes up to the next one, mechila, then it gets total. Slicha, total forgiveness. See how you live after Yom Kippur. Number 8. What is the difference between chet, oven, and pesha? We just told you. Chet is inadvertent sin. Shogeg. You did it by shogeg, and you don't know, so you get slicha, total forgiveness. Then oven is with knowledge. I knew it, I just couldn't control myself. Pesha is intentional rebellion. So slicha mechila kapora for chet, oven, and pesha. Pesha could also be for any one of us, not just the worst kind of people. Rebellion. You know what else comes under Pesha? Ignoring mitzvahs. Frikas all. Ignoring mitzvahs. Which means we say to the mitzvah, poo on you. You ignore a mitzvah. Achei bekashius orei. If we say achei on stubborn, we're stubborn necks. We have stubborn necks. We just don't want to do it. That's rebellion. Al-Chay b'kushios oref. You just don't want to give in to that mitzvah. That's rebellion. Or al-Chay b'frikas ol. You shirk off the mitzvah. That's all. You don't do it. You just don't do it. You just don't show up for slichas. As the halacha says, that you got to be finished by the end of the third mishmar. That means before Alos HaShachar in New York City, it's 10 of 6 finished. Not come in at 7:30. I know, if you get up, your day is ruined, you can't learn. I know that, so go to sleep 10 o'clock. And you get up for a week or so. But they just ignore that. They'll say, listen, from Balabatim, they don't learn all day. Let them go, that's 5 o'clock, and that's their mitzvah. But we have ours. We have our thing. We learn all day Torah. We have to come to Slichos late. Well, that's what our chelik is, that's our avoda, and that's their avoda, both are equal. Really? You mean the Balabatim should do according to the Shulchan Aruch, and for the Bnei Torah, they ignore it. It says there in Mishnah Berurah, and the Chaloch, and Erechai, and Chai Adam, and the Tur, and you should cut down on learning, and do more slichas. That's just ignored. And some people are very medactic in certain parts of the Shulchan Aruch, and they just ignore other parts. That's right, it's a halacha. Bashmodas Habok is when the Rachamim is Gover. It's not there at 7:30 because it's already past Netz. Next is 6:30. That's the late 6:30. 10 of 6 is the latest moment. I know. There are certain things we ignore and we still from Eden. We hold that, but some people want to follow the halacha. They just force themselves. Okay. What is more choshev? Haftorah mafta Yonah at Mincha or the Haftorah for Shacharis? So everybody's going to say mafta Yonah because some rich guy bought it for $500 or 1,000 or 2,000. Haftorah in Shacharis is much more important because it has 5 brachas, and mafta Yonah has 4 brachas. That's the difference. Number 10. Why don't we have 2 days of Yom Kippur in Golus, like all other Yom Tovim? Not Golus, in Chutz La'aretz. What about 9 days of Chanukah? Shvekid Yoma. 2 days of Purim, what's wrong with that? We should have 2 days, but it's a Gezeirah She'en Yibachol Lamed Bo. The average person can't fast 2 days. Only healthy people have permission to do this. Chanukah and Purim are Rabbanon. You don't add more to Rabbanon. Rabbanon in the first place is already added to the Torah. You don't add to something that's already a Gezeirah. You don't make a Gezeirah on top of a Gezeirah. We don't make Gezeiras or Chumras on Rabbanons. Chanukah and Purim are Rabbanons. You don't make a Gezeirah or Takana on top of Rabbanon. And so the Chanukah is 8 days, not 9, and Purim is 1 day, not 2. And Yom Kippur, if you can handle it, you can fast 2 days. But you can't make it a din for everybody. Why don't we say Shachris Kedusha on Yom Kippur? How come the only 1 day on Yom Tov a year, on the Shachris Yom Kippur, you don't say Shachris Kedusha? How come? People 50, 60, 70 years old never thought about this. Why we don't say Shachris Kedusha on Yom Kippur? Why? Because Oz B'Kol Rash Gadol is an inyan of din. And it's not appropriate for this day, din. You want to indict yourself? You want to ask Hashem for kapara? In all 4 tefillas, the Kedusha is mim komecha. Hu yifen berachamim. That's what we're looking for. That us we call Rash Gadol. That's din. We don't want that. Therefore, all the 4 kedusha, Shachos, Musaf, Mincha, Nila, we say Mimkomcha hu yifen berachamim. 12. What else is mochel? All sins aside from Yom Kippur. Misa Mishuna. Marriage. It says so. Putting on one's tefillin properly. Mishnah Brura. Lamed Zayin. Chalocha Aleph. Bris Milah. 13. Why is there no siman in Shulchan Aruch after Rosh Hashanah headed Dinei Aseres Yimei Tshuva? Why is there no siman in Shulchan Aruch after Rosh Hashanah headed Dinei Aseres Yimei Tshuva? Oh, I know it's in the new Mishnah Brura's printed since 1980, but it's not the way the Yosef Chaim wrote it, because I have the old copies from 19, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. It doesn't say after Aseres Yimei Tshuva, says after Rosh Hashanah Aseres Yimei Tshuva. Now they have it. It's a mistake. Because you see, after Yom Rosh Hashanah, there's only 8 days left. How can you say Aseres Yimei Tshuva? And the original Mishnah Brura doesn't have it. After Rosh Hashanah, it says Dinei Yimei Tshuva. Aseres Yimei Tshuva is the siman before Rosh Hashanah. So somebody wanted to improve on the Mishnah Brura and messed it up. Kol HaMosef Goreya, because after Rosh Hashanah there is no Aseres Yimei Tshuva. You only have 8 days left. Aseres Yimei Tshuva starts before Rosh Hashanah. There's only 9 days. Well, we have 2 days Rosh Hashanah all over the world, even in Chutz La'aretz. Where you want to Dinei Yimei Tshuva, go to Shulchan Aruch number Tov Reish Beis 602. A man went up on his knees at Kiddush Levana, as is the minhag, and flew away, saving him from his abductors. What connection does this have to do with Yom Kippur? Some hold that it's imperative to say Kiddush Levana before Yom Kippur, like our minhag is, in order to add to Sechusim. See Be'er Heitei, Tov Reish Beis, quoting the Ari. Now, why do people do it after Rosh Hashanah, after Yom Kippur, and after Tisha B'Av? Because Tisha B'Av is so sad. Never. They want to say Kiddush Levana, a happy frame of mind. And before Yom Kippur, you're so afraid. You want to wait till after Yom Kippur. By side, that's 100% true for Rishonim and Achronim and Great Gedolim even 100 years ago. Are you really so sad in Rosh on an Av? Are you really? You can say it before Tisha B'Av. It's 9 days already. Because maybe it'll protect you. The Chamer said, if you say Kiddush Levana every single month, you'll never die. So that means you'll never die. If you always say, no, it means you won't die Misa Mishuna, a terrible death. You'll die a normal death. Isn't that, it's like life insurance for your own life. You're not going to do that? We're makbid to do it after 72 hours. And on Yom Kippur, you're really scared? Really? You're really, really scared of Yom Kippur, so why didn't you show up at Slichas? That's 5:30. Why at 7:15 you roll in? You're not scared. You better make it do before Yom Kippur. My father Paskin, for this door, except for Yechidim, for this door you should do it before Yom Kippur to have more Zechusim. You're not really scared. If you're really so scared, you wouldn't sleep till 7:30. You'd be up at 5 o'clock. Look at the Be'er Heitei, 604. Second Brachas, Daf Ches. Where's their mitzvah to minimize learning and maximize eating? That's the answer. Erev Yom Kippur, see Be'er Heitei, Tov Reish Dalin, and Masechet Brachas Ches. Some say it's the one before. Some hold it's imperative to say Kiddush Levana before Yom Kippur, in order to add to Zechusim Be'er Heitei, Tov Reish Beis, and the Ari. Number 16. If using chickens for kaporos is a custom of idol worshippers, Dach Amori, like the Mechaber says, and he forbids it, asers it. Why do we do it? Since it's an ancient custom, Ramah insists on it, the Ramah strongly advises not to change it at all. Shulchan Aruch, Tov Reish Hey. If the man you sinned against and you want to ask him for kapara, he died before Yom Kippur, what do? How do you ask mechila for your sin? Yom Kippur has no effect unless one first asks mechila from his friend, but he's dead. You go to his kibbutz with a minion and follow the procedure of the Shulchan Aruch, Tov Reish Hey, and take off your shoes at the kibbutz. Is it mutter to go to the bathroom with the kittel on? By the way, the kittel is only we Ashkenazim call it kittel. Sfardim call it jalabiya. Can you go to the bathroom with that? Technically, it's permissible, no kedusha. Even you go with the towels cotton every day if you like, don't you? And even a towels you can go. However, B'nai Torah, sensitive people, tuned-in people, will never go with the talus, because it's only used for tefillah, and kittel is only used for tefillah, or for Seder night. You wouldn't go in there out of derech eretz, not because it's awesome, it's not a din. It's not covered. Number 19. Where is their mitzvah to do tshuva found? There's no mitzvah of tshuva. It's the mitzvah of vidui, confession. If you do an aveira, you have to do vidui. If there was a mitzvah of tshuva, you would have to do an aveira first. If there's a mitzvah of tshuva, you'd have to do an aveira, which is the incorrect concept. You can't do a mitzvah of aveira. I'm doing a mitzvah of tshuva because I did an aveira. You can't do an aveira in order to do a tshuva. There's no mitzvah of tshuva. If you did an aveira, you got to say vidui. There's no mitzvah of tshuva, not even in Devarim Daled Lamed. Go to Devarim Daled Pasuk Lamed. It's a whole discussion about the Rambam and Beni Yonah and all that. The mitzvah is vidui. If you had to do the tshuva, then we'd have to do an aver first. Can't be. If the Satan doesn't automatically function on Yom Kippur, because HaSatan is 364, and there's 365 days in an average year, so he doesn't work on Yom Kippur, so why do they keep the Kohen Gadol up all night Yom Kippur? They flap their hands and they make them walk on bare feet on the cold stone floor, and they clip their hands and they sing and they dance and they don't let them fall asleep even for a second. Chas v'sholom, maybe you'll have Kerry. Kohen Gadol represents all Klal Yisrael. Without a Kohen Gadol, there's no kapara. That's why he has a second wife. Just because if his wife dropped dead on Yom Kippur, there's another girl there, no older than 12, by the way. She could be 85 years old, but she has to be 12 before 12 and a half, and older than 12, between 12 and 12 and a half. Naro. Because it's the second, the first wife dies, the second one is automatically his wife. That's all arranged before Yom Kippur, because he has to, Isha Beiso, he has to represent the Jewish people, the family, he has to have a wife. So now listen, if there's no Satan on you one day a year, so why do you keep the Kohen Gadol up? Why do you do all these tricks, as it says in Yom over there, how to keep the Kohen Gadol up that night? Satan is 364, and there's 365 days a year, and he has no power on that day to attack you unless you specifically incite him. Then you have Yetzer. If you go after it, you have it, but he won't come upon you. However, against the holiest Jew, the Kohen Gadol, he makes a special effort to disturb the procedures of the day, so there's no kapara for Klal Yisrael. Therefore, to cause Bnei Yisrael to lack a full kapara atonement, Gemara discusses it. Dafke him. The Satan is after him. The Satan is how did Rabbi Victor Miller say it? He's looking for he's a big game hunter. He looks for Gedolei Yisrael. Kozbi Basur wanted Moshe Rabbeinu. And some say Zimri did it l'shem Shemaim to save him, to save Moshe. Because he says to Kozbi, look, I come from the second Shevet, Shimon. What do you want him? He comes from the third Shevet, Levi. Whole bunch of arguments. Some say he did it l'shem Shemaim. She wanted to get Moshe. The Satan wants the Kohen Gadol. Once he got him, the whole Klal Yisrael was finished. So, since you're the holiest Jew, therefore he's concentrated on you. You are in Sakana that night, even that night. Therefore they keep him up, they do every trick in the world. flick their hand like this, and they make him walk on the floor, and then he talked to him all night. He shouldn't sleep. 21, last question. Which 3 brachos of Yom Kippur are only said once a year? Hading ner shel Yom Kippurim, the women say that. Number 2, Hapasech lanu shari rachamim, in Shachos after Baruch Hu, instead of Yotzor, the one time a year we change it, we say Hapasech lanu shari rachamim, right after Baruch Hu in Shachos. And the third one, Mekadosh Yisrael b'Yom Kippurim, last bracha of Haftorah. Mekadosh Yisrael b'Yom HaKippurim. That's the last bracha after the Haftorah. That's on these things. The 3 brachas are said. Only these 3 brachas, once a year. What are the 3 mitzvahs on Yom Kippur? Well, the question number 22 is in the new version. Shavta el Hashem Elokecha, return to God. That's tshuva on the past. Svadu el Hashem, confess to God. That's charata, the confession on the present. B'fnei Hashem titaro, before God, purify yourself. Titaro, future. That's on the asad. You will mekabola al ha'asad. I will not do these bad things anymore. These are the 3 according to Ben Yonah. These are the 3 mitzvahs of Yom Kippur. Teshuva al ha'obar, charata al ha'hova, and kabola al ha'asad. Teshuva al ha'obar, v'shavto el Hashem Elokecha. Return to God from where you were. That's the one teshuva on the past. Yisvad el Hashem, confess to God today, right now, in the present. The Fnei Hashem Torah, before God, you shall purify yourself. That's for the future. And now here's the last one. Here's the unbelievable. Number 23. What does the 39 days from Rosh Chodesh Elul to Erev Yom Kippur have to do with the 39 days between Shavuos and Chet HaEgel? They received the Egel, Torah, on the 16th. They got the Torah on the, we keep Shavuos on the 6th of Sivan, but they had on the 7th of Sivan. Moshe added 1 extra day. The 7th of Sivan, until Shivos B'Tammuz, was 39 days. And from Chodesh Elul until your Erev Yom Kippur is 39 days. What's the connection? A young man, 25 years ago, in a certain yeshiva in Monsey, a Russian young boy who ran away from Russia, talented young man, asked me this question and told me the answers. What's the connection between the 39 and the 39? Because Moshe came down on the 40th day, Shivos B'Tammuz, and next day Shivos B'Tammuz, but they thought it was already Shivos B'Tammuz. He came down on Shivos B'Tammuz. And they made it the day before the Erev Rav, the Egel. So from 7th of Sivan till the 17th of, it was not 40, it was 39 days, and they were eating, dancing around the Egel. What does that have to do with Rosh Chodesh Elul until Erev Yom Kippur? 39 days. Also mitzvah to eat. He said, this young man, Mamish Ruach HaKodesh, Russian boy, 25 years ago, just like they were dancing and eating for an Aveiro, because that's what they did with the Egel. Moshe came down the next morning and smashed it and killed 3,000 people, Erev Rav, born Gentiles, who weren't fully eaten because they didn't have sablanu, patience to wait another few hours. So they waited 39 days and they ate on the 39th day for the Aveiro. We eat on the 39th day, which is a mitzvah, a kapara for their eating. This eating that we do Erev Yom Kippur is a kapara for their eating, of their aveira. It's an unbelievable thought. 39. They ate for a chet. We eat 39 days after Rosh Chodesh Elul. That Erev Yom Kippur is the kapara on the Egel. Those 39. Unbelievable. Boys, I have a chasima tova, gemach chasima tova. Every one of you have a wonderful, meaningful Yom Kippur, and Yosef Chaim will try to do it after Yom Kippur for, well, it's not Sukkot yet this week, but next week we have to do Hazinu. Sei gesund.